Welcome back to the Vires and Numeris podcast, episode number 45, with International Boxing Hall of Famer and former WBA lightweight champion of the world. He went 29-5 with 23 knockouts. Mr. Ray Boom Boom Mancini, welcome to the show today, sir.
Well, I appreciate it, Ryan. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I ran into you last week in Youngstown, and I've been a long-time fan of yours, so it was an honor to get to talk to you and for you to accept to come on today.
My pleasure. Thank you. Where do you reside at? Are you in Youngstown or no?
Yeah, I'm close to Youngstown. I'll tell you off camera exactly where I am.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We don't want, yeah. We don't want nobody to know. It's incognito. It's on the open.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, but I grew up in East Liverpool, so not too far down the road from where you grew up.
Yeah, you told me. You did tell me that.
Yeah. Lou Holtz, the most famous person from East Liverpool.
And was East Liverpool or was East Palestine that was a Pretty Boy Floyd or Machine Gun Kelly?
Pretty Boy Floyd got gunned down right near East Liverpool, and I actually went to Beaver Local, but my dad went to East Liverpool. He's a potter.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So yeah, Lou Holtz from East Liverpool, right? And it was Pretty Boy Floyd, right? That's
yeah. My dad actually went to the same grade school, St. Aloysius, as Lou Holtz. So
there you go. Yeah.
I'm curious about actually your schooling, though. You went to Cardinal Mooney, right?
Cardinal Mooney High School, and it's funny that we have a lot of successes here in Youngstown, but not only in the business world, entertainment, and sports, but not only a lot of us come from the same city. A lot of us went to the same high school. For instance, Eddie and Denise DeBarlo went to Cardinal Mooney. The Stoops brothers, who were the D1 football coaches, we all went to Cardinal Mooney. Bobby was a year older than me. Michael was a year younger. Not only we went to the same high school, we went to the same grade school together. And then I'm trying to think else. The Pellinis. Now then, when we went to the high school, Bo Pellini and his brother went to the same high school, but he went to a different grade school. But it's just interesting, people from the area, like I said, the DeBartolo family, and a lot of successes, especially in the world of fashion and like I said, all kind of business. But it's very proud of this city. But especially in high school, as you know, come from this area, football is a big thing here. Football, boxing we're known for. But everyone's proud of their high school, boy. They like to let you know who went there and all that good stuff. So
yeah, I'm curious if there's something in the water over there. Everybody that goes to Cardinal Mooney turns out to be a stud at something. It seems like you mentioned all those great athletes and coaches and like yourself, a boxer. Were there any other great boxers that went to Cardinal Mooney?
No, I was the only one. Because boxing parochial school usually don't go in the end. I always tell people I'm an anomaly, meaning boxing traditionally has been a sport of the poor. From the 20s being the Jewish fighters, the 30s with the Irish, the 40s the Italians, to now the blacks and Hispanic. Mm-hmm. Traditionally, it's a sport of the poor because most people come fight out of economic need. Mm-hmm. I am, on the other hand, I went to parochial school all 12 years. My parents, you don't realize how much they did without, so I could do that. And, I come from a very modest family and modest income, but I had everything I needed. And my parents wanted me to go to parochial school very bad. And, look, when I was in high school, I worked my way through school. That's the way I got a chance to go to school. You do my sophomore, my freshman and sophomore years, I was a custodian in the 8th period. I was, sweeping the floors and all that good stuff and mopping the floors, and then you go to practice. My junior and senior, I got promoted to dishwasher. Yeah, beautiful. But you know what I'm saying? You do what you got to do. My parents, I'm very proud of the fact that they worked hard to get me to go to Cardinal Mooney, and I was very proud to be part of that. And you do whatever you do to be able to stay there. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's I don't know. So what I was getting to is, I get it. I come from a middle-class family, loving parents, parochial high school, parochial school all 12 years. But I tell people, my construct to fight was different than most. I didn't come from economic need. So, we didn't have the most, but I didn't come from that. I came from a desire, a hunger that was a different type of hunger. Hunger for success, hunger to achieve what my father should have achieved, but didn't get the opportunity to achieve, not to be to fight for the lightweight championship of the world and to win it. So that was my whole construct to fight. And so when I travel and I do a lot of speaking engagements, I speak to colleges and civic groups, but I also speak to jails and reform schools. And when you go in there, they look at you like, who's this guy going to talk to us? Who's he going to, how can he connect? Who's he to be able to connect with us? And I tell people all the time, you guys, you're here. And I tell them just what I told you, to pitch about parochial school and loving family. I said, but don't get it twisted. When I was in the gym, because all the fighters I trained with, I moved to New York, and I went to the toughest gyms to train in New York. I trained at Times Square as my main gym, Times Square gym, but I went to all of them. Gleason's gym, the Gramercy gym, the Solar gym, which was all Hispanic and black. And you walk in there, man, they foam at the mouth because they think it's white meat. We got new meat, white meat. And you got to go in there and you got to earn it, man. You got to earn it. So when you get in there and you start training, sparring, and, like after, you stand there, hold your gun, you bang back and you back them up. And next thing you know, they're all coming around the ring and stop training and cheering and yelling and screaming in the Spanish and stuff for their guy, And then afterwards, like, when people say, hey, man, when the brothers come up and the brothers, say, hey, man, you don't fight like, here's what I love this, one of the best compliments. Say, man, you don't fight like no white boy. You fight like a brother. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But I understood what they meant.
Yeah, they were giving you respect.
Yes, of course. So anyhow, this is why I could fight to win that opportunity to win that title for my father. So I'm very proud of my career. I'm proud of the road I took by moving to New York, which is, I left to understand I wanted to be my father. He was everything I wanted to be as a man, as a fighter, as a father. He was everything I wanted to be. So he went to New York. I was going to New York, and it just worked out that way. And I was very fortunate to follow the same trail that he's. And when I was in New York, a lot of people, older guys, a lot of old trainers and stuff, and remembered him. And my father's old trainer, Ray Arcel, still lived there. And so, I got a chance to meet him and, a lot of the great fighters of that era, in my father's era, I got a chance to be friends with and meet. And they remember my father very well and, very affectionately. So it was a wonderful time for me. And I'm very proud of taking that road, taking that road to success. You got to leave home. I'm a firm believer, Ryan. You sit home, you get too comfortable. And success isn't about comfort. Success is about being uncomfortable. You succeed when you're uncomfortable, when things aren't nice and tidy and cozy for you.
Right.
You succeed when things are uncomfortable, and you got to make your own way, find your own way.
I left home at 18. I just didn't go leave home to become the world champion. What was it like for people that don't know? Like Youngstown's very like gritty, hard blue collar type atmosphere. Everybody grows up kind of a little bit tough. So what was it like in the 60s and 70s in particular when you were coming up? Like, were you the type of guy? I heard that, from these docs and stuff that I've seen on you, that your brother was more of like a wild guy. Maybe he would get into more street fights or something like that. But were you brothers end up in street fights together? Because I know that you like to hang out with your brother. So I'm wondering if you were in street fights or you just took it to the ring.
Well, we were 5.5 years apart. So even though when I was hanging out with him, and we were hanging out together, he was still older than me. But no, I didn't get many street fights. I had some, of course, but not many. I can't say, I fought in the streets all the time. No, I didn't, because I was very focused. I was playing sports. At 8 years old, I was playing Little League baseball, Pop Warner football, Billy Ball basketball. So year round, I was playing sports. I didn't have time. And you study, you go and hang out with your friends. And you get a few scuffles when you're out on the streets, hanging out at the McDonald's or whatever, with kids from other schools, or kids from the neighborhood or other neighborhoods. But no, nothing. I wasn't a guy who got in a lot of street fights. Can't say that. But like I said, because I was always active, playing sports, and I was focused. I knew what I wanted since I was a kid. I knew I had a dream, and eventually I was going to be a fighter and go to New York like my father did. And but when I was younger, I played every sport, all the sports, year round, as I just said. But you said something about Youngstown. I think people say, "What's it?" Like you said earlier, what's in the water there? It must be something in the water. I think it's not an economic need, though. That's for many people. I think that it's a hunger for success, meaning this. And I think like the Stoops brothers are good friends of mine. Bobby Stoops, there was 5 boys, four boys, 2 girls, right? So they we had the same house. I had 2-bedroom house, bedroom, and you stack the boys like bunk beds, right? my point being is, the fears of father was a high school teacher and coach. And they didn't come from a lot, but they had what they needed. But the point is, we all come from a place of hunger to succeed. We want to be, we should want to be better than our parents, do better than our parents, I should say. And we all hope our children will do better than us. I think for them, and as for myself, it was a hunger to succeed. You wanted more. I look back at my house. I go by that was a shoebox. It was a shoebox. One bathroom, and you bump around in the bathroom, but you had everything you needed. I think the need for success, was for me, and I like most of it. I didn't want to work in them steel mills. I said, God, I can't do that. My father used to make me up every morning before school so I could go up and do road work. So he'd give me a kiss, wake me up at 6 a.m. He'd be going out the door. He didn't work at a steel mill. He worked at a fabricating plant where they made steel office furniture. So same thing, steel mill, still a factory, steel factory. And he'd give me a kiss, wake me up, and I'd go to the window. We lived 2 houses in the corner. He'd walk two houses up at the corner to catch his ride. And I'd look at that window, watching him walk up, blizzard, snow, torrential rain, scorching heat. And I go, oh, God, please, I can't do that. I can't do that. Please help me to make it as a fighter. I can't do that. And I'm not saying I wouldn't if I had to. I just didn't want to do that. And as I say, I'd say my prayers that God, look, the men that work in the steel mills, better men than me. Better men than me. I worked construction my junior year before I went to turn a senior. I did landscaping for about a day and a half. I quit that. I couldn't do that. I didn't even go back for my check. I just told the guy I can't do this because, I got sports, I got school, I worked roofing and siding, we built homes and put the roofing and siding. I did that for summer. And I always tell people, when you know what you don't, when you learn what you want to do, it's by doing things you don't want to do. Do a summer job working on siding or roofing or landscaping or some type of job that I said, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. It's temporary. It's a means to an end. Put some pocket money in my pocket. But this ain't what I want. I want something more. I want something bigger. I got to get out of here. And this is why you do those type of jobs. So that's why I think people succeed here. You just realize, look, steel mills, like I said, better men than me. Guys, solid job, you own a house, 2 cars in the garage, send your kids to parochial school. Nice. Solid people, better men than me. I just wanted something different. That's it. I'm not saying I'm better, no, by no means. They're better men than me. I just wanted something different, and I followed that path, and I followed that dream, and it worked out.
Yeah, I think you just explained it perfectly there. What age did you decide that you were like all in? Because I know you told your dad like very, very young. I think it was 8 years old or something like that you were going to be a world champion to satisfy. He came up just short going to the World War II and came back. He was wounded and had a lot of shrapnel in him and stuff, and couldn't get back down to the weight class that he should have been fighting in. So you wanted to make that right, and you did. But at 8 years old, how do you really know what you want to do? How did you know that?
It's funny you said that, Ryan, because people, after I made it, won the world title, reporters would say to me, "Now that you won the world title, did you really believe it? Did you really believe it?" I say, "Yeah, man, yeah," because I used to dream about it. I used to have these dreams of me carrying the belt over my head, walking around the ring with my arms raised, holding the belt. I said, now, sports psychologists have a fancy name called positive mental visualization. I said, hell, man, I always thought it was called dreaming, having a dream. That's, dreaming. And that's what it was. But I did. I used to dream that all the time, seeing myself walk around holding that belt. And I'm a firm believer. We manifest our dreams into reality. I'm a firm believer of that. You can't see it. You can't be it. And that's what positive mental visualization is. If you can see it, you could be it, you could achieve it, all that, right? All those fancy sayings, but it's the truth. It's the truth. If you can't visualize it here, it can't manifest itself here in the real world. It don't. So, and I'm a firm believer, we talk our reality and we talk ourselves out of our reality. I believe that we talk success. You have to manifest it, man. You have to speak it and believe it before you achieve it. And if you don't, it doesn't mean it can't happen another way. If you still have to think it, but you got to have that belief. But when I talk to people who are so caught up in the negativity of, I can't make it, he can't do it, you're not going to make it happen. And you know how many people in my life, family members. But thank God it was never my mother and father. My mother and father believed in me from there, but family members like cousins and other relatives, And I just why would you want to look? Even my old high school coach, I told him I was going to give up football to focus on fighting. Said, you can't go nowhere as a fighter. You're not going to make it. You can't go nowhere. You get punched drunk and some things, and get busted up. But at least here you could get a scholarship to college, but not a big college, but a small college. And I said, well, I'm going to be a fighter. And later on, I tell the story about I went back to I got inducted into my high school Hall of Fame. And I'm telling that story. And he's sitting front row. And he's laughing. Everyone's laughing. And I looked at him dead in the eye. And I said, I said, you have to understand something. I don't do nothing small. I live big, I talk big, I walk big. I don't do nothing small. And everyone's laughing, he's laughing. But I said it because it came from a source of deep down inside that I held all those years. It came from a source of anger. But here's, not that they didn't believe I could do it, because that's, like I tell people all the time, I don't need you, Ryan, to believe in me. I tell people all the time, I don't need you to believe in me. If my mother and father didn't believe in me, it'd be unfortunate. Right. It'd be heartbreaking, but I don't need him to. The only person I need to believe in is me, that I believe it, and the good Lord, that I say my prayers to God to help me achieve it. I don't need nobody else, me and God. But thank God I had a wonderful parent who instilled in me that sense of belief, who instilled in me that the only limitations I have are those I put on myself. That there's nothing I couldn't achieve if I truly believed it. My mother and father, they encouraged me, they supported me. There's nothing. But other family members make stupid comments. So, right. So and people in the outside world. So I never got caught up in that. But why would people, this is where I go to with high school coaches. I got into with my son's high school basketball coach. Now, the high school coach says, I don't get caught up in that. But he was trying to, my son come home upset. What? He said, Bob, I can't stand playing for this guy. He's no good. He tries to he verbally abuses me. He makes comments to me. So I called the guy, and first we were friends, and I call him and we talk. I run into him, we could talk. Now he ain't picking up my phone. He answered me. So it went a year and a half. And finally, he called me one time, and I had it out with him. And I used a lot of colorful language on him. But the thing, he said, well, Ray, I don't understand. I'm just a high school coach. And I said, yes, that's all you are, is a high school coach. But you're supposed to be a maker of men, not a breaker of men. You're supposed to build them up, not break them down. That's what you're supposed to do. High school is such a pivotal time in our lives. Do you understand? Some of these kids will never play sports ever again, but only in high school. Why are you putting freshmen in front of seniors who've been there for 4 years, but you got a guy, letting him get time, playing time in front of a senior who's been there for 4 years grinding it out? If it's LeBron, I get it. But these kids ain't LeBron.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I get it. And they're making such a preference on winning. No, don't get me wrong. Everybody wants to win. It's about achieving, but it's how you win. It's how you win. It isn't always, it's how you win. Look, the Astros won, they won dirty. There's a lot of Olympic athletes who won, they won dirty.
Right.
That's not an achievement. It's not winning. It's how you win, by doing it the right way. So when I'm getting, I'm all over the joint now, so I apologize. But high school is such a pivotal time. I ran into myself. My sons run into it. Both my kids, both my boys. And I just, high school coach, anybody out there who's listening as a coach, if you're a coach at Biddy Ball, at the YMCA, or Boys and Girls, you're supposed to be a builder of men, not a breaker. Give these kids an opportunity to achieve it. Give them an opportunity to play. And, there's something, they just want to be part of something. Let them be part of it, man. So, anyhow, that's why that is my motivating factor. That was fuel for me. That was fuel. I wasn't one of these guys like, oh my God, man, guy said I could never make it. Coach said I can't make it. I said, yeah, you can't do it. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove that son of a gun wrong. And that was what I told that coach about my kid, my son. I said, you can't break my son. You can't break him. And that bothers you because you can't break him. He's got more character than you and all your coaches put together. And that's what I think is more important. Character. Character will always beat talent. Believe me, I'm a firm believer. You can have all the talent in the world, but no character, you ain't going nowhere. Because you have a ton of character and little talent, you can always achieve. Always achieve and strive.
You mentioned your high school coach in particular, like putting that in the back of your head as fuel. I like to think that I'm decent at doing that myself. Just letting these people. You just when you need it, it's there. You know what I mean? You can just turn it on. It doesn't even have to be something you're thinking about, at least. And I'm also big into like speaking things into existence and stuff like that. Putting that bad energy or good energy out there. A lot of people don't believe in that, but I'm a firm believer in that.
Well, Ryan, look, everything comes from the Bible. Now, I have my faith, and it's not me. That's my faith. And I have two boys, raised them, but they're boys now. They're not churchgoers at this time, but they believe their faith. And I told them, you're going to follow your own way. I wish you would go to church more on a regular basis, as long as you pray. But you have to have that relationship with God. But let me tell you something. I'm not going to get into the religious thing. I'm not going to put up saying that's my faith. For me, my relationship with Jesus Christ is the most important thing in my life. But I'm not praying and hope that my kids will find their way back to the, as long as they believe. You got to have that belief. Because the book, everything comes back to the good book. Everything goes back. My one son, he studies a lot of philosophy. He's all about philosophy. And that's fine. Find your way. And he reads a lot of, and I read a lot of philosophy, believe me. And he studies up, and he's, all about negative energy and positive energy and all that stuff. Great. But I tell them, if you go to any what was I going to say? Any person out there who speaks, the great guys who speak, the great speakers from Socrates and the great speakers from the Greek Empire, modern day presidents. It's always somewhere. It goes back to the Bible. They have references. They always bring biblical references. And basically, what I'm getting to is, the Bible says you speak into existence what you want to see. Positivity, speak positive energy. I'm not talking about energy, but all of that. It's all of it. Speak positive, things will happen. Speak negative, it will happen. We have the ability to manifest that within ourselves. Mm-hmm. I don't know of anybody who speaks negativity. You go out and speak and smile all the time and speak and go out and be a good guy and always thinking happy thoughts. How's that work? It don't work. It doesn't happen that way. You got to believe in happy thoughts. You got to believe in good, good thoughts to manifest that. But if you're miserable, if you're a miserable person, you come out, that obviously manifests itself too. You come out as the man. Who wants to be around them type of people? Yeah. So, right, you run these people in your own life. And I just think for me, it's just living. I'm 60 years old now, and I did a lot of living in those 60 years. Especially when I was fighting, I was very blessed to be able to travel and meet a lot of great people that are my heroes, and people that are big successes, and some of the greatest success stories, and of the world, and some of the greatest entertainers and celebrities that we've had. And I'm fortunate to be friends with a lot of them. I'll get a chance to meet some of them. And it's just but nobody becomes a success overnight. Mm-hmm. Nobody comes to success by chance. It just don't work that way. You become a success through the grind, through the hard work, you put the time in, hard work, determination, desire, belief in what you're trying to achieve, belief in yourself. And, those are things that's how you make things happen, not wishing them to happen.
Yeah, your story really resonates with me. The whole family dynamic, being a close family and having that support and then just making it happen. I love the whole story. That's why it's just an honor to talk to you today.
Oh, I appreciate it. And Ryan, I apologize. I'm going off on tangents. So for the audience, listen, I apologize. I'm going off on tangents. Brian's got questions. I better let him ask him because we're going to be here all night. We do a two-part series. Do it and come back for another time. Round 2. I'm doing round 2.
All right. Hey, I've already got you on video agreeing to part 2. That's good. I want to ask you a little bit. Let's get into I want to talk to you about your road work. You already kind of alluded to it a little bit, but how many miles would you run a day or a week? Weights, diet. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, road work is interesting because people talk about it, and a lot of fighters do it differently. I used to, there was no specific, run every other day. Some guys are run every other day. Some guys run 2 days, break a day, 2 days. I just start on a Monday, you start training camp on a Monday, and you run usually the first week, you run the first 5 days, 6 days. And then as you get in more in the training camp, some days you just can't up, your legs are tired, legs are heavy, especially going into the first couple of weeks to get yourself integrated again into the workout, to the training camp routine, so a lot of times, you start off, I run between 3 and 5 miles. Start off with a week of 3 miles, easy 3 miles. Then the second week of 4, you pick it up a little bit, pick up the pace. And then do 2 weeks of 5 miles. And then the last 6 weeks was perfect for me, 6 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, I do 2 miles and sprints. Take 10 sprints, 10 50-yard sprints. Or, 6 80-yard sprints, whatever. You figure out, change it up. But road work changes. It's funny because, and like I said, in the second week after that, I run Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, usually take off 1 day. I get during the week, and then I take off Sunday. So I'd run 5 days out of the 7 days. But some days your body's just tired. So I'd go to the gym and my trainer said, Ray, did you do road work today? I said, Griff, I laid off through my legs were heavy. So that's why I won't make it up on the road. Because I didn't cheat myself. And you got to be in tune with your trainer. That's why you can't lie to your trainer. You guys are a team. He knows your body better than you. He knows when you're peaking at the right time, when to pull you back. It's his job. my job's going to work as hard as get. It's his job to set what the work is. So you don't peak at the right time. I tell people, it's like sharpening a pencil. You sharpen a pencil, you keep sharpening it, or sharpening a knife, I should say. Sharpening a knife, keep sharpening a knife. What happens? You dull the knife. So that's what happens when you're in training camp, you know?
Okay.
And so, I'm sorry,
it's about finding that equilibrium, or however you want to say it. Yeah.
So, I mean, so the point is, you know, you change it up. Some days you just got to listen to your body. You got to listen to your body. And when you feel better, you go, but long as you're not cheating yourself. Now, some guys do it different. Like Marvin Hagler. Marvin was interesting. He was the best for me. I loved him. Be good friend. But Marvin was different. Marvin would run every other day, but Marvin would run up to 10 miles at the peak. Now, I ain't doing 10 miles. And I used to say, I admire that, man, but you know, like for me, 5 miles is the perfect because of the way I worked in the gym. And the same way Marvin worked his ass. You know, the reason I brought Marvin is because we were recognized as the 2 hardest working champions. I don't know how they could come to that, but reporters would say, or even TV guys say, you know, you and Marvin Hagler are 2 hardest working champions. I said, I didn't realize. I said, I know I have to be. I have to. I don't know why he is, because he's great, man. I don't know why he's got to work so hard. He's great. But I have to be. But so fighters do it, you know, they change. Some people run more miles. It's just how you do it, whatever works best for you. And then 3 to 5 miles, depending on as you pick up the pace in training camp. Mm-hmm. And then the same thing. I work anywhere from, you start off with, you know, just floor work and heavy bag, speed bag, no boxing the first 5 days of the gym. And then you start sparring the second week. So you start doing off like 12, 14 rounds, and then you start going up. And then at the peak, you're training anywhere from 20, about 24, 25 rounds. And that's when you implement sparring. And then you start sparring. You start off with about 4 rounds of sparring. Then you pick it up, to 4, 5, 6. Then you go to 8, bring it back down to, 6. You go up 10. Then 2 weeks before the fight, 2 weeks, I'd go all 15 rounds. I always had 4 sparring partners, 4 of them. And that'd be 4 sparring partners. And then they put 1 in each corner. The last 3 rounds, we'd go all 15 rounds. So one guy would work 2 rounds, the next guy would work 2 rounds, guy come in for another round, the next guy worked 2 rounds, one guy worked 3 rounds, he mix it up.
Is that because, I don't want to interrupt you, but is that because you were beating them up so bad? I know you want to keep them fresh. No. I know you want to keep them fresh, but
you got to have 4 guys for the work. Yeah, because I'm gonna, I'm getting in shape. But a lot of guys, I always had guys that were heavier than me, shooting welterweights. So guys I could pound on because I was a good puncher, and I'd be able to take their punch. But I always have one guy who's lighter, like 126 to 130 pounds for speed.
Okay.
Some of my sparring partners were guys became world champions. Stevie Cruz, was just starting out. He went on beat Barry McGuigan for the featherweight championship. It's for speed. This kid was so fast. Kid out of Texas, man, slapped the crap out of me for a couple of weeks. Once you catch up to him, now you know. I worked with guys. I worked with Freddie Roach before, when he was a fighter. Freddie, before I won the world title. Freddie Roach. People forget don't know what a great fighter, terrific fighter he was. He just couldn't punch. He wasn't a big puncher. But Freddie could punch and be a world champion 5 times over. Tough as they come, smacked the hell out of me for about 3 weeks till I caught up to him.
Was he a weight class above you, or was he a lightweight?
Lighter. He was lighter than me.
Oh, okay.
Below. 2 weight, So that's what you do. You get 3 guys that are heavier for punch, and then 1 guy for speed. So, and some guys you got to send home. Not many, a lot of them, but some guys. Like I said, some guys, like I said, a couple became world champions. Frankie Randall was a sparring partner for me. He was the first guy to beat Julio Cesar Chavez. He became world champion. One time he was a sparring partner for me. There was another guy, Juan Meza, who was the only guy to beat Salvador Sanchez, even though it was in a non-title fight, but he beat him. So he was a sparring partner for me. So I had a lot of good guys, man, a lot of good sparring partners. Some went on to fame. Some of them just make a living off being sparring partners. But they know their business, man. They know how to fight, and they teach you, right? So that's why you work with different guys who got that experience. And like I said, some guys are heavier. Most guys are heavier, and they give you the work you need. So then you not only spar, then you do a heavy bag, X amount of rounds on a heavy bag, speed bag, jump rope, all your body work. So, you're in there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, but it's consistent work. And plus, fights are 3-minute rounds, 1 minute rest. I'd train 4-minute rounds with 30-second rest. So, that's how you get in shape. And my diet consisted of, in the morning I'd have oatmeal. So, I'm big on the high carb, low protein in the day, in the morning, before I go training. And then at night you switch it up. So in the morning it'd be like oatmeal with sliced bananas and raisins and strawberries with honey. And then I'd have some, rye toast and juice and a cup of coffee or not. And then only eat twice a day. Or sometimes when I eat eggs, I was poached eggs with rye toast, some melon, cantaloupe or honeydew melon, and coffee, juice. I'd go at 10 o'clock, I'd take a nap. I nap from 10 to 2. I'd get up and, watch TV, relax a little bit. In the morning, I'd read the paper after dinner, after breakfast. After I come back from road work, we eat breakfast, and I'd read the paper or whatever. There was no internet or nothing back then, so we weren't doing that, And then watch a little TV at 10 o'clock, take a nap from 10 to 2, get up, start getting ready for the gym. 3 o'clock, I watch my soap opera, Guiding Light, every day. I didn't miss it. 4 o'clock, I go to the gym, and then we go to the gym. So we were in a hotel, in Vegas. We go down. We were at a resort, wherever we went, go to the gym at 4 o'clock. And, a lot of times open to the public. Most of the time it was, whether it be at a casino or a resort. We were there as an attraction for the people. So we were, I trained on the West Coast. When the fight was out in Vegas, I trained in Palm Springs. I trained in Tucson. I trained in Vegas for the fights. Fights were back east. I trained in the Catskill Mountains up in above New York. If you want to get acclimated, so they were high acclimation because 23,000 feet above sea level, light air. You get in shape up there, you come to sea level, you're ready to burn for 20 rounds. So that's the.
So what's his name? Emmanuel Lewis or one of those guys? The trainer.
Stewart.
Emmanuel Stewart used to take his fighters up the Catskill.
Yeah, man, he was a good friend of mine, and most fighters did. Oh, I keep moving up like this because I'm sitting in a chair and it keeps sinking. So I pick myself up. Manny Stewart was a good friend, one of the greatest trainers of all time. Trained Tommy Hearns, and known for the Kronk Gym, which was world famous. And man, God rest his soul. But he was a wonderful guy and good friend. Most trainers take the fighters up to get to training camp, wherever it is. Muhammad Ali had his training camp in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania, up in the Pocono Mountains.
Okay.
He had a camp. And guys like Holyfield had theirs down in Houston. Wherever they fought, you had training camp. So I moved. My training camp was to get acclimated to wherever. If I was fighting out west, Las Vegas is 3,000 feet above sea level. People don't understand. So it's high. So you got to train on Tucson. I trained in Las Cruces, New Mexico. To get acclimated because they're the same altitude. I trained in Reno for fights in Vegas because you want to get the higher altitude. So
can't imagine boxing out in Vegas with the heat out there.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Did you have any superstitions? Because I saw you were a baseball player too at one point, and baseball, and I feel like boxing would be another one where you'd be highly superstitious.
Fighters do. I think you rate the same trunks if you've gotten success with the trunks, same shoes, that shit.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of superstitions. The pre-fight meal is kind of the same thing because it's what your body works on best. What's the best fuel for your body? So it's the same meal, a pre-fight meal. I don't have any superstitions. I had a routine.
Right.
So I don't call it, when I would do the day of the fight, you get up, you rest, walk, take a little, after you eat, walk a little bit, wherever you're at, and then come back, get ready to go to the arena. And then get there, I read my prayer books and read my prayer books first. And then, so a little motivate self meditation. Mm-hmm. And then you start getting your hands wrapped and dressed. And, it's like I said, it's a routine. And then get up and start loosening up for the fights. And my wife's going to be coming into a second here. Here she is. So I'm up to Zoom. I'm doing a Zoom. Awesome. Okay. So
I can cut this part out. No worries.
Okay. So anyhow, yeah. So like I said, I don't know, but certain people have superstitions. I'm sure I did. I can't recall. I do remember though. I have in my shoe, my boot, my boxing shoe. I had a picture of my brother with me. I did do that. So I guess that's a superstition, right?
Yeah, that's a nice tribute too. I'm curious. When I met you, I know you fought orthodox. Are you left-handed?
I'm left-handed.
I thought when we exchanged information, and I saw you writing with your left hand. So, what are you ambidextrous, basically?
Well, could we shut the door, please, love? Can we shut the door? Thank you. I fought my first 6 amateur fights as a Southpaw. My old amateur trainer, Ed Sullivan from Youngstown, converted me after my 6th amateur fight. He said, look, at that time, nobody wants to this day too, nobody wants to fight a Southpaw. I'm not going to be able to get you fights. You punch hard, you're aggressive. Nobody wants to fight a Southpaw anyway. It's going to be hard for me to get you fights. So he converted me so I get more use out of my left hand, use it as my front hand, get more use, jab, hook. The hook comes from the blind side. So it was the best thing he did ever happened to me by him doing that. Now, a lot of people don't know that Marvin Hagler is a converted Southpaw. He's right-handed. They converted him. He fought Swift. He fought as a Southpaw. They had the same advantage over those fighters. The right-handed fighters. So
that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So another thing, Ryan. In Italian, my last name means left-handed. Mancino means left-handed. Mancini, so I am what my last name says. I am Mancino.
Io parlo Italiano. I know a little bit of Italian, not much. I'm writing right now for a cryptocurrency paper. A lot of the CEOs in Italy, they're all Italian. Yeah, to Switzerland, but I'm into that. I'm into that culture a lot. So I wanted to ask you in a little bit about fighting over there, but
sure.
I'll hold off on that for now. But I want to ask you. I know you went over there and fought. What was it like when you got to New York City? Like 18 years old in New York City, right? You're 18 years old?
18, yeah.
But you had already turned professional.
I turned pro, but I started training. I hadn't had a pro fight yet. You sign your contract. The day I signed my contract was the same day we got on the plane. September 18th, 1979. Flew to New York. And at that time, you could fly to Youngstown Warren Airport. They had direct flights to New York, Chicago, places. And I flew out and saying goodbye to my parents and my sister and brother were there, and it was heartbreaking. And I'm crying all the way, going there. But I knew I was going to achieve my dream. I was going for a goal. I was going for a reason. So it was hard going away, but you gotta go. My father said, "Go, you gotta go." And because before I left, he couldn't get off work, so I had to go on the way out to the airport, stop at his work. It was general fireproofing on the north side, and they let him come say goodbye. And I'm holding on to him, and he's, Ray, you gotta go, and I'm crying, and he's crying. Anyhow. But you go knowing you're going for a reason. You're going to achieve a dream, a goal in mind, a goal that's been for you, your dream since you're a kid.